Have you ever heard a story so strange, so baffling, that it stays with you long after you've heard it? Well, get ready, because today we re-diving into one of America's oldest and most chilling unsolved mysteries, the lost colony of Roanoke. Picture this. It's the late 16th century. England, under Queen Elizabeth I, is eager to establish a foothold in the New World to challenge the dominance of Spain. A charismatic courtier, Sir Walter Raleigh, receives a charter to colonize North America. After a promising initial expedition, a group of over 100 English men, women, and children set sail for a new life. Their destination? Roanoke Island, a small patch of land off the coast of what is now North Carolina. They arrived in 1587, led by Governor John White. Among the colonists was his own daughter, Eleanor Dare, and her husband, Ananias. Shortly after their arrival, Eleanor gave birth to a baby girl, Virginia Dare, the very first English child born in the Americas. It should have been a time of hope, a symbol of a bright future. But the reality was far from idyllic. The colonists quickly discovered their situation was precarious. Supplies were dangerously low, and their relationship with the local Native American tribes was strained, sometimes even hostile. Desperate, the colonists persuaded Governor White to sail back to England to gather more provisions and reinforcements. It was a difficult decision. He would have to leave behind his daughter, his newborn granddaughter, and the entire community he was responsible for. But with winter approaching, he had no choice. He promised to return as quickly as possible. So John White set sail, leaving his family and his people on the shores of the New World. He expected to be back within a few months. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. When he arrived in England, he found the country in a state of high alert. The mighty Spanish Armada was preparing to invade, and every available ship was being commandeered for the war effort. White was trapped. He couldn't get a ship, he couldn't get supplies, he couldn't get back to his colony. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. 3 long, agonizing years passed before John White was finally able to secure passage back to Roanoke. Imagine his state of mind during that voyage, a mixture of hope and gnawing fear. Did they survive? Did they manage to forge peace with the natives? Is his granddaughter, Virginia, now a walking, talking 3-year-old? In August of 1590, White's ship finally dropped anchor off the coast of Roanoke Island. As he and his men rowed ashore, they expected to be greeted by the familiar faces of their friends and family. Instead, they were met with an eerie, profound silence. The settlement was completely deserted. The houses had been carefully dismantled, not violently torn down. There were no signs of a struggle, no bodies, no bones, nothing to suggest a battle or a massacre had taken place. It was as if over 100 people had simply vanished into thin air. The search party scoured the area, desperate for any clue, any message left behind. And then they found it. Carved into a wooden post of the fort's palisade was a single cryptic word: Croatoan. Another carving, simply Crow, was found on a nearby tree. Now, this wasn't just a random word. Before he left, White had instructed the colonists that if they had to leave the settlement, they should carve their destination into a tree or post. He also told them that if they were in distress or forced to leave, they should carve a Maltese cross above the name. But there was no cross. The Croatoan message seemed to suggest a planned, orderly relocation, not a desperate flight. Croatoan was the name of a nearby island, now known as Hatteras Island. It was also the name of a friendly Native American tribe that lived there. This seemed like a clear signpost. The logical next step was to sail to Croatoan Island and find the missing colonists. White was relieved. He had a lead. But once again, misfortune struck. A powerful storm rolled in, battering the ships and making any attempt to sail south to Croatoan impossible. With his supplies dwindling and his crew unwilling to risk the treacherous waters, a heartbroken John White was forced to abandon the search and return to England. He would never see his family again. He died never knowing what became of them. And that's where the historical record ends and the speculation begins. For over 400 years, historians, archaeologists, and amateur sleuths have been trying to answer the question, what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? The theories are as numerous as they are fascinating. The most straightforward theory, of course, is that they did exactly what the carving suggested. They went to live with the Croatoan people on their island. Perhaps they assimilated, intermarried, and their English heritage slowly faded over generations. There's some tantalizing evidence to support this. Later explorers and settlers in North Carolina reported encountering Native Americans with gray eyes, lighter hair, and European features. Some even claimed these people spoke a form of English and knew stories passed down from their white ancestors. As recently as the 1990s, archaeological digs on Hatteras Island have uncovered 16th century English artifacts like pottery and a sword hilt, suggesting some European presence. But if it's that simple, why is it still a mystery? Well, for one, extensive archaeological work has never found a large-scale English settlement on Hatteras Island. You'd expect to find the remains of English-style houses, a graveyard, or a significant collection of artifacts. But so far, nothing conclusive has turned up. This leads us to other, darker theories. One is that the colonists were attacked and wiped out. Perhaps their relationship with a less friendly tribe soured completely, leading to a violent confrontation. But this doesn't quite fit the evidence. Remember, the houses were dismantled, not destroyed, and White found no signs of a battle. A surprise attack would have likely left a scene of chaos, not an orderly, abandoned settlement. Another possibility is that they tried to sail back to England on their own. The colony had a small ship called a pinnace. Maybe, growing desperate after White's long absence, they decided to risk the treacherous journey across the Atlantic. If so, their small, ill-equipped vessel would have almost certainly been lost at sea, leaving no trace. This explains the lack of bodies on Roanoke, but it doesn't explain the Croatoan carving. Why point to the island if you're sailing for England? Then there are the more dramatic theories. Some suggest a deadly disease swept through the colony, killing everyone. But again, where are the bodies? Others believe the Spanish, who had settlements to the south in Florida, found the English colony and destroyed it to eliminate their rivals. The Spanish did indeed search for Roanoke, but their own records indicate they never found it. Over the centuries, the mystery has taken on a life of its own, becoming a cornerstone of American folklore. The story of Virginia Dare, the lost child in the wilderness, has inspired plays, poems, and novels. The word Croatoan itself has become legendary, a shorthand for unexplained disappearance. It even famously appeared scrawled in the journal of another mystery figure, the author Ambrose Bierce, before he vanished in Mexico. In recent years, modern science has joined the search. Archaeologists are using ground-penetrating radar to look for buried structures. Geneticists have tried to trace DNA links between modern-day descendants of the Croatoan tribe and potential English ancestors, though results have been inconclusive. A clue emerged from a 16th century map drawn by John White himself. Underneath a patch on the map, infrared imaging revealed a symbol for a fort located about 50 miles inland from Roanoke. Could a splinter group of colonists have gone there instead? Excavations at this Site X have yielded English pottery from the right time period, but still no definitive proof. Every new discovery just seems to deepen the intrigue. The colonists weren't fools. They were woodsmen, farmers, and soldiers people with the skills to survive. It's hard to believe they would all perish without leaving a more definitive trace. Their disappearance feels deliberate, almost ghost-like. So what do you think happened? Did they peacefully merge with a friendly tribe, their English bloodline mingling with Native American ancestry? Were they victims of a hidden massacre, their remains lost to time? Did they embark on a doomed voyage home, swallowed by the unforgiving Atlantic? Or is the truth something else entirely, a story we haven't even imagined yet? The enduring power of the Roanoke mystery lies in its lack of an answer. It is a historical vacuum that we can't help but fill with our own fears and imagination. A group of people on the edge of a vast, unknown continent simply vanished, leaving behind only their names and one cryptic word. The lost colony of Roanoke remains America's oldest unsolved mystery, a silent 400-year-old question mark etched into the very beginning of the American story. Thanks so much for watching. If you have your own theory about the lost colony, I'd love to read it in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more dives into the greatest mysteries of history. See you next time.